Hi, my name is Dr. Harmony. I am a twin flame expert helping twin flames around the globe face fears, find freedom, and glow forward on fire. Welcome to my weekly glow show. Today's topic, we are going to talk about twin flames. You have always had the power. You know, we're on an odyssey as twin flames. And just like Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz, running in and encountering so many different challenges, so many different obstacles, facing so many fears, we are on this journey that we signed up to learn these lessons so that we evolve along our path and along our journey to find our way home, which is really inner peace and happiness for ourselves and experience an unconditional love and the divine connection to everything and all that is. And somewhere in that, we have a dream, we have a vision, or we have a quest. And it can be very challenging in the middle of that storm and the middle of that journey. It can be very frightful. And I got to tell you, like, I know that there's so many people out there that are still facing a lot of challenges, a lot of difficulty. And it doesn't matter where we're at this journey, we are always expanding. So we have to go through the same process of letting go, surrendering, staying to our path, staying true to that. So the question becomes, how do we continue our journey in the middle of this chaos, or in the middle of these challenges? And when we get to the point of feeling like we really want to give up is the kind of the point here. When you reach that level of how can I keep going? And so that's what I want to bring you, 11 ways to help you continue your odyssey and to find perseverance in the process. So, you know, that is the key, is to persevere and to keep going. And Dorothy just kept persevering. And I'm going to share with you the 11 ways to help you continue to persevere here shortly. But I want to share with you a little bit about where I'm at personally and what I've been guided to kind of like revisit from a standpoint of a full circle within my own space, my own life, my own journey, my own quest, my own odyssey. And as always, when I woke up today, I had no idea what this message was going to be today. And as I do many days, I ask guidance, what do you want me to share today? And so then I just pay attention. And I actually, you know, this is kind of a side note from the 11 ways to continue your odyssey and to persevere in the process. But, you know, when you really don't know about anything, you just ask. So many people forget to ask like questions about that, or then to stop and listen, and then to allow the answers to come in. And I want to, hopefully this comes full circle for you in this process of just how this came through for me as a live example of knowing that sometimes we don't know things and we do things blindly. Just like when I sit down here and hit record button, I don't always even know what's coming out, and sometimes what maybe comes through is different than what maybe I thought. So it's about getting out of the way and surrendering. So that's it's a reflection of this journey we're talking about. It's blind faith, it's blind trust, and just asking for signs along the way. So where I'm at personally right now is I've been feeling this completion. I've been feeling things coming to an end, as in the end of my soul's purification. Not the end of necessarily, we're always going to evolve, we're always going to learn, and we always are going to be finding balance in the middle of the chaos and learning how to accept duality of all of ourselves and all that is, and staying in harmony of flow. Okay, so that is like a never-ending journey. But when it comes to what we're doing on this quest of learning these lessons, we can't always get out of the lesson. We have to take the quest to learn it, just like Dorothy did and what they teach us in The Wizard of Oz. And so I've been feeling this completion, coming to this completion. And I've had an experience, or I shouldn't say experience, I should say I've had an opportunity that's came up very recently that has taken me back to the beginning of this portion of my journey of 5 years ago. And it was just before waking up to the twin flame aspect, concept, and it was just before I started making action to change my life, knowing I was going to. And where I was at the time that took place is I was on the island of Kauai in Hawaii, and I was at Honolulu Beach, and I was sitting in that beach because I was with my life partner at the time. Him and I were there with our parents actually, but they were off doing their thing, and him and I was going to have an adventure that day. And this particular day, and we were off to go see the waterfalls of Wailea. And I'm not even know if I'm pronouncing that right, but basically, on the way there, he went into some things that he needed space on his own, and I needed my own space because it was not going in a positive direction. So I took him to get his own car, and we basically had our own cars on this island. And after I dropped him off to get his car, I drove to Honolulu Bay and sit on the beach in complete misery. Complete misery. I didn't like anything I had set up for my life at the time. The relationship I was in, I knew needed to change, but we had been in this web, owning a business together, having a life together, and it was so tightly entangled that I didn't even know how to get out of it on any level. And in the process, it was killing me, like literally killing me. And so I sat on that beach and I vowed to myself, I'm either going to go home and I'm going to buy a one-way ticket and I'm flying back here to live on the beach and literally leaving everything. And I'm not kidding when I say this, leaving everything behind me and running away. And really, nobody even has to know where I went because I'm going to just leave everything and I'm just going to drop it all. And I can see where people have literally done that before because I was right there. Or the other choice I had was to go home and create the freedom of my life and live my life in that space every day as if I was on that beach in Hawaii, living a life of freedom. So I chose to come home and free my life. And I've been working on that diligently in this process, even as my awakening was coming into, after this, of the twin flame journey. I was already being awakened many times over a 20-year journey. And that was in November of 2013. And I'd been through a lot of other challenges, even leading up to that with business relationships and other things, as I mentioned. But I knew I was tired of it, the whole journey. And I also kind of knew that this relationship and the things we were there together and my life being as miserable as it felt like that, that whole piece felt like a piece that was sort of the ending of my chapter or my book, so to speak, at the time. And so I ended up coming home, as I mentioned, diligently untangling webs. And let me just tell you, I was at the pit of hell in that 5 years ago, to the point where the worst pain that I'd ever experienced from any kind of trauma, I didn't think I'd ever be the same. I just didn't think I would ever be the same. So wherever you are, I want you to know there's hope. Because I've reached the finish line and I've come out of the pit of hell. And I've climbed up that pit. I have literally climbed out of that pit. I mean, and in that process of that ascension of going up in that enlightenment and that purification, not only have I had my heart shattered many more times, especially with still entangling the web with that person and getting Champ back and, having had that taken last year, him taken from me last year and going through that process and going through court. And when I even thought everything had finished, then having to go back through it again, another layer. And we ask ourselves in the middle of this, and it's human, when is this ever going to end? Will this ever end? How much more can I take? Can I even go on? And like, if this is the journey and there's nothing more, I don't even know what the point is. I just don't, because I can't do this. And I do recall that it took such a toll on my body. Not only did I end up with uterine cancer in the middle of those early phases, and I think it was in 2016 that I had, no, 15. Well, it was 15 or 16. Honestly, I don't even remember. I had, surgery from that, was diagnosed with that. Another challenge, another deeper lesson in that. And, it just felt like that, again, they were never going to end. And every time I would dig myself out of that pit, it felt like here comes another wave, just pushing me back down in the pit. What I got to tell you is that when you go down in that pit, that pit, you don't stay there as long, and you climb back up faster, and you go higher each time. And, in that process, when you feel like you want to give up, though, and that perseverance has to kick in, that's the part where the most amount of transformation is literally taking place for you that you just can't even see. And I know that there was a 2-year period somewhere in that middle of that time frame that I could barely get out of bed. And I stayed mostly in bed or to myself for a period of at least 2 years. And I called it Soul Hospital at the time. My soul was literally in a hospital, and it couldn't take much of anything. And so the reason I share this story with you is because now, as I come full circle around from that space on Honolulu Bay, I'm being taken back to Kauai and Honolulu Bay in November. Now, about 2 years ago, I had a new client at the time contact me, and she actually was going to connect with me a week later. That ended up being canceled, that rescheduled to the next day of the time she had scheduled it. And she was in Kauai. And 2 weeks prior to that, I'd had a vision of a twin waterfall and purification, and downloaded some different tools and techniques and energy cord cutting that I teach my clients to do through a purification process with their beloveds. And basically, as this happened, and she contacted me, she actually happened to be on Kauai and was going to those waterfalls the next day that I was to go to, that never made it. So after him and I had this thing, and I had to take him to get his own car, and I went back to Honolulu Bay, I never made it to the waterfalls. But she's there, and we ended up doing this activation of the portal and the diamond light. And there was a lot of grid work that was being done. And so now I'm going back in November. That was like, it wasn't planned. It was an opportunity that came through, taking me back to Kauai, back to that island, back to those waterfalls, back to Honolulu Bay, in full release of that 5 years ago to the month that I sit there saying I'm coming home and changing my life. I'm being taken back. Now, we go back through these cycles. I got to tell you, with the same person, as I unwound everything I've had to, and I haven't planned it. I've been taken to every place that we ever visited, or I even visited when we first started getting together, and that being San Francisco, Chicago, Florida, now Hawaii, and there's probably more stuff in between there. And it's unwinding the energetic untangling, the attachment. And I'm not kidding when I say this. I actually have a whole bunch of information of this coming in a book of things I've learned in this process of this revisiting to unwind our energetic release, not just in like our togetherness, but in these anchoring of this earth energy and these grid lines that we're rewriting it, RIGHT, in a new way going forward. So we're taking back our old energy, erasing it, and we're implementing the new way, the new energy in this new grid line of where we're connected to in these spaces energetically. And so basically, when I go back in November, I'm actually being taken back with my book, Twin Flame Codebreaker, and to be working with some writing conference there with writing putting together and learning how to screenplay write, because I'm being shown different things with the book coming with that. In addition to that, I'll be working with some literary agents there that to connect with. And I know that I'm being called to Hawaii at some point anyway, more of a long-term situation at my final destination once I do a certain amount of travel. So anyway, I was reflecting on this morning because I had been reconnected with my one of my twin flame facilitators. I have two, one that has been locally here, and he's actually also been had moved around, and over the weekend and after yesterday, he was actually in the area again, and it was like he noticed the same rewind to shift his energy, and even connecting with people while he was here about rewriting and unwinding that energy and those lessons. And so we were having a conversation. The conversation kind of triggered from one to the next, and then so it triggered in me like different pieces of my full circle today, and thinking about that. And when I went to go get on Facebook this morning, I found a post that I made around that time that I was in Hawaii. Okay, I want to read that to you. I was in the middle of the pit when I wrote this for myself, even though it helped so many people. And I got to tell you, I posted it today, and you know who you're going to be that's having a challenging place and time in your life right now that made a comment of just what you needed in the middle of this stuff happening to you. And it was perfect because it's reminding you to keep going. And it's about perseverance. And it says, perseverance is the key to success. When we experience setbacks while jogging through life, there are times we feel like giving up. Stop and walk for a while. This is just the time to be. We are exactly where we need to be in order to dig a little deeper, push a little harder, and test our faith. From this space, lasting results happens there, people. So real results happen from real actions. So do not give up or stop your race. This is when you begin to get to the finish line, and just around the corner, you're going to find your way, and you're going to find your way home. So may you always continue your journey and finish your race strong. Okay, so I challenge you to finish your race strong today. Finish your yellow brick road. Keep persevering like Dorothy and her friends, and let's keep moving forward. And so I want to tell you in that, just before I share with you these 11 odyssey lessons from the Wizard of Oz that we can take away first to learn how to persevere our own lessons. But as I started thinking about this process of Hawaii and about feeling that is the closure of the closure of the closure, it's kind of where it really all this round officially began. And I just feel it. And there is another connection, I must say, though, that's coming in Glastonbury, where my past life in Glastonbury and connected to Avalon, which my dog Champ Avalon, how there's a whole book coming on the restoration of Avalon. So you'll have to watch for that. It's going to be book 4. So it'll be number 4 in the 5-part series of Twin Flame Codebreaker. But I know that I'm to go there to unwind that past life too. And then that opportunity came up for me to go there at end of November, beginning of December. So that's piggybacking all of this too. But that's more of a past life thing, and what's going on in Hawaii is more of like the present life thing. And we have to work on both of those spaces. So I go to take my run today while contemplating on this Hawaii return and finding my way home back there, back to the space. And just as I'm having all these thoughts, I saw a bumper sticker that said, you have always had the power, my dear. You just had to learn for yourself. And so I tell you, you have always had the power, my dear. You just had to learn for yourself. And in that process, you just keep persevering because it's taking you deeper in yourself in order to connect more with your own truth and your own faith. And that this morning, I got to tell you this. I normally take one route. I could have done the same route, but I don't even know why I did it in reverse today. Instead of going the one direction, coming back around, actually, I do know why. Champ pulled one direction, I went with the flow. And we did the route we normally do backwards. And when we did that, as we came in backwards, that's how, first of all, I saw the sign, or I wouldn't have even saw it in the other direction because we wouldn't have went by, we would have actually even went another little bit of a different route. But second of all, when we came back home in the way of coming in reverse of the way we normally go, I looked down and I started following these blue arrows that somebody painted on the sidewalk for, I guess, some, you know, dig right type thing where they're going to dig something or they're doing something. But these arrows just kept following and they're on the sidewalk. Well, they had to be there the other way, but I never noticed them before, of course. And so as I'm following the arrows and I'm just on the last stretch to get back home, it was crossing like this little, looked like a little finish line in the sidewalk, and it said the end. Now, coming from it the other way, it wouldn't have been facing me with the words saying the end. It would have been upside down the end, and I didn't notice it, and the arrows would have been backwards and everything. So it was like I'm on my yellow brick road here, and these blue arrows are pointing me home, and it says the end. And I'd already been feeling this whole, the end and the closure. So if you're wondering, is there an end to this? I'm still in my journey, of course. And of course, as I said, we still have things to learn and do and evolve. But there is an end to the purification. There is an end to like a place that you're going to excavate the dinosaurs to release and purge your past, so to speak. And you can take those lessons along this quest that you learned from that and that you had to know them to kind of live your life in a way to rewrite that. But going forward, you know, you will be more in forward motion and expansion of more in alignment with your mission and the things you came to do. Or, you know, let's just put it this way. Love more of what you do, or be in alignment with more things that make you happy, not so much the things that are just the negative, painful things. So this is the pain equals pleasure, and we create that radiant heart. So in our 11 odyssey lessons here on our quest that we can learn from Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz, number 1 is be yourself. That means accept yourself, and you know, it's okay to be different. You know, look at the Tin Man, you know, look at the lion and also the scarecrow. They weren't your average friends, right? And so it's okay to, one, be different than everyone else. It's okay, you know, be important to accept them is accepting yourself, but to be able to be yourself with them, with these people, with everyone around you. Number 2 is accept that you're on this quest and this journey. Saying yes to the journey, taking responsibility. Like when I sat there on the beach in Hawaii and Kauai Island at Honolulu Bay, I came home and took responsibility and accepted responsibility that if I created all this, that I knew I could change it. And it did not happen overnight. But I came home and made choices that got me out of that situation. And they were not easy choices. And yes, I had to face a lot of fear. But I found freedom. And that's why I'm showing up here today, to give you the courage to keep persevering on your own odyssey and your own path and your own journey. But say yes to it. That's saying you're accepting it, and that's saying you created it. You could create something different, and you're going to choose to make it a different route home. You can go the opposite way than what you've done before. You can turn it around. You can do it in reverse. You can take a different path, right? That means you need to believe in your journey. You need to believe in the path. And by that means you don't stop dreaming along the way. You still need a vision of some sort of life inside of you, some sort of dream of something you want to accomplish. You came here to accomplish so much, and it takes perseverance to dig deep inside in this path to connect to that side of you that wants to make your dream a reality and to bring it into form and to align with all of these things that you came here to be, do, and have that I keep talking about. They really exist, people. They really do. So don't stop dreaming. Believe in this journey. It can be magical. It really can. See it as a beautiful experience and try to find the gratitude in it, and that will help you surrender to the process, to the lessons, to the forward motion. And so in that journey, number 4 here is don't forget to stop and ask for help along the way, along your path, along your quest. You know, Dorothy and her crew, her team of odd people, odd friends, I should say, they stopped along the way to ask how to find the wizard, right? The wonderful Wizard of Oz. And it was not a direct path. And some people didn't even believe in it. But they never stopped asking, and they never again stopped believing. They kept searching for their way to find the Oz, so Oz could help Dorothy find her way home. Just like Oz would be a representation of our source energy, our Akashic records, our higher self that knows our way home to inner peace and happiness. And we just need to find connection to that Oz inside of us. The wizard inside of us. The wizard inside of our higher self, our source. What we came here to do and align with. And that in addition to that, with number 5 is that it's okay to be different, as I said. I kind of said this in an acceptance of ourselves. But when I say it's okay to be different in this aspect, it's okay to have alignment with people that might be different than us, that are in contrast. Stop thinking that all your friends need to be spiritual gurus. They just might be the one that helps you get home. How's that for a thought, right? They might be heartless. They may not have a mind, and they may not have courage, right? Just like the lion and the scarecrow and the Tin Man. They may not be spiritual people. They might be totally different than us. But embrace that contrast in them, because they might be the ones walking you across the finish line as you get home. So it's okay to be different and embrace it. Stop trying to shut it out. Number 6, we have to shift from our head to our heart. You know, I teach clients that they have to shift from head logic to heart language. In order to do that, sometimes our guidance comes along and turns our brain on a dimmer switch, and we end up like Scarecrow with no brain, right? And we can be like Tin Man with no heart, right? And some people can. But we are being asked to shut the brain off so we can activate the heart and view things from our heart instead of our head. And to expand that heart in that vision, to keep the energy moving so we can learn to do love and be and acceptance and love others and love what we do and experience and connect with purpose, with passion from our heart. So we got to get out of our head. We got to move into our heart. And number 7, to remember that courage creates confidence. So most people are afraid to move forward in any direction, especially when it comes to purpose and mission. Even having confidence in the twin flame journey, having confidence in their twin, But when you can find the courage inside of you to keep going forward in this odyssey, along your odyssey and your journey and your quest here to find your way home, you will then find the confidence once you get there and you go back to Hawaii where it all started, on the same beach. I have confidence in this journey. I just do. I've learned to get out of the way and know that there is a plan here. Everything's in divine order, and the more I get out of the way, the more things show up. And the more I let go of the restriction and the fighting and the resistance, the more things can funnel through me, like messages of this, that I wake up today and have no idea what the message is going to be. Number 8, you have to face your fears along the journey. You just do. You know, on Dorothy's way home, it was through the night and the dark shadows and the dark night of the soul. And there was a lot of scary things that created a lot of fear that made her feel like she was never going to find her way home, or never find the wizard to help tell her how and where home is. But she faced the fears. She didn't do it alone either. She did it with odd friends that didn't have heart, didn't have the same mindset of thinking the same way, and someone that didn't even have courage, but they all taught her to find courage in herself and her journey and have confidence in herself. Number 9, never, never, ever, ever, ever give up. Keep following the yellow brick road. Keep following the blue signs painted on the sidewalk. Believe in the signs that say the end. The end. Connecting, asking, listening, allowing allows you to continue your journey. And I challenge you to finish this way home, your race home. Finish it strong. Don't give up. Because number 10, continue, that was number 10, is to continue the yellow brick road. Number 9 was never give up. I kind of blended them together. So number 9 is never give up. Number 10 is follow the yellow brick road, meaning follow the signs. Okay. And in the never give up, make sure you just continue to persevere, persevere, persevere. Number 11 is, there is no place like home. So don't think you have to settle for anything less than what home is to you, and that you have to even necessarily find a new home. And that may be that you have to find a new home, but to remember that home is really just the mere reflection of your own soul. Have you ever walked into a home, in a space? I have this, people do this all the time in my space. They feel the energy. So home is just an external representation of our internal being and status. And so really, you've heard the saying, home is where the heart is. And where's your heart, right? Where is your heart? Have you found your heart? Do you know what you want? Do you know what you believe in? Have you accepted yourself? Do you believe in you? Do you believe in this journey? You know, are you asking for help to direct you? Surrendering into that process? And knowing it's okay to receive that help? And that, you know, that you want to move from your head logic into your heart language, and that you're willing to do whatever it takes to face that obstacle, because it's the illusion of it being in front of us that when we hit the illusion, we back up, and those fears are only false events appearing real. They're only illusions. So let go and face your fears and surrender. Never give up. Continue to follow that yellow brick road, because there's no place like home, wherever home is to you. You know, and I want to leave you with the thought. I want to repeat the thought of that bumper sticker to remind you, as you continue to persevere on this quest in this twin flame odyssey, that you have always had the power inside of you, that you just had to learn for yourself that it's there and it existed so you can believe in you. Okay, I feel complete, but I do want to share one other thing with you. I've had a few projects that I've really been launching out there, and guidance told me today was the day to create the launch for my online course. That is the Reboot Your Soul course that I actually teach clients one-on-one and have for 3 years, and created it over the last 3 years. And it's been in motion for about 3 years, and it was being created kind of leading up to that. But basically, so I know there's a lot of people that maybe want to connect with me. Guidance has shown me that, first of all, this is my Reboot Your Soul blueprint that I do one-on-one. It's a 12-session program with people to help them learn to find their way home, really, to face their fears and to get from where they are to cross that bridge to where they want to be across that yellow brick road. And it is like following the yellow brick road, honestly. It's a path. It's a direction. It keeps you in the process. You know, it helps you become yourself. It helps you accept your journey, helps you believe in it all. It helps you forget your past as far as being able to let it go. It helps you realize that you can find your voice and your truth and speak it. It helps you shift from your head to your heart. It allows you to continue to have the courage to face your fears. It gives you the confidence to never give up and to persevere. And so I was shown that that is a part of this pathway, and that it needed to release today because maybe people out there are wanting to find their way home, and that this is a process for them to do that. So I've been shown to launch it at a significantly discount in the price. And I don't know how long that will be for that discount. And it also is going to have also been shown, instead of doing it at a one payment purchase investment, to do it as a 3 payment for a while. So I don't know how long that'll be either. Eventually it might be the 1 payment, and I don't know when these are going to change. So you'll always find the link here no matter when you see this video. But I challenge you, I encourage you, if you've been trying to find your way home, that you need to take advantage of this new program that I am launching today. And I didn't even, again, know it was today when I woke up, because there's a few pieces on the back end that I'm working on, but guidance says, nope, you're not waiting until it's perfect. You're releasing it. You're surrendering it. People need it. Get it out there. And I always follow that direction. So be sure to check out this new program, Reboot Your Soul online program that I have through an Ascension Academy online that I'm launching, that's coming out with lots of different programs that will be available for people to take advantage of. You will find the links below. All right? So may you always face your fears, find freedom, and glow forward on fire. Namaste.